Hello guys, today Abuja was really hot, not because of the sun, but because of the energy inside the Federal High Court. As again, Mazi Nnamdikanu, the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, showed up in court today to continue his trial. And trust me, this wasn't just another hearing. It could be a game changer. I mean, today's session was all about whether the charges against him should be thrown out completely, or if the federal government has enough to keep pushing to this very high profile case. So just grab your seat, grab your popcorn and your thoughts, because we are breaking down what really happened today inside the court, and what it means for Nnamdi Kanu, and how this could shape the Nigeria's judicial future. And of the truth, people shouldn't be surprised when we stake Nnamdi Kanu's future, Nnamdi Kanu's trial to Nigerian future. I mean, it is more like, what are you doing? A lot of people are watching, and whatever you do, you have to be very, very conscious about it. So, heading up from today being 18th of July 2025, supporters gathered, hoping to catch a glimpse of Nnamdi Kanu, even though the court premises were heavily guarded, and the atmosphere was charged with chants, prayers and deep emotions. And when Nnamdi Kanu entered the courtroom, he actually turned his head. Of course, his dress was simple but sharply. He greeted his legal team as usual, and even acknowledged the crowd inside the courtroom with a calm nod. So the question is, what was today hearing all about? And in simple terms, I would just say that Kanu's legal team filed what we call a no-case submission. In simpler terms, it's just a way of saying, Your Honor, there is no real evidence here. So let everything be ruled out completely. Let our client go now. Don't even let this trial continue. So simply, it is a way of saying our client has no case in this very regard. So moving on swiftly, Kanu's lead counsel, Chief Kanu Agabi, SCN, didn't just come today to play. He told the court that the government have been fishing in an empty river, and according to him, the DSS witness only brought statements, no video, no direct link, no actual evidence tying Kanu to any violent acts as he was accused. So he also added that Kanu's broadcast weren't cause for war, but cause for self-defense. And honestly, that's a big point. I mean, from our perspective. He also stated that even retired generals in Nigeria have also said the same thing. Another bombshell, they said IPOB's prescription wasn't even legally complete because the Federal Executive Council never approved it. I mean, that's like banning a group without your full cabinet saying so, because the federal government wasn't taking that lying down. Their lawyer fired back. He said, this is not some harmless radio rant. They called it a pure terrorism. He told the judge that over 170 security agents have been unalived since Kanu began those protests. And he also claimed the connection is too strong to ignore. He even quoted Kanu saying followers should bring the world to a standstill. To them, that's not a freedom of speech. It's a call to war. And the government insisted that with all the videos, audios, and witness testimonies, there is more than enough to force Kanu to defend himself. So this is actually the some sort of debate that played out, in the court. So what happens after the drama? Well, the judge didn't give a verdict today. Of course, it shouldn't be. He actually listened carefully, took notes, and then set a date. That is October 10th, 2025 for the continuation. So that is when the court will actually rule on whether this no-case submission succeeds or not. Of course, if it does, Kanu walks free as a free man, maybe immediately. But if it fails, then brace yourself up, because the trial enters full gear and he will be forced to open his defense. Let's be real, guys. This case is way more than just about one man. It's about power, politics, identity, and justice in Nigeria. So the question is the government really protecting the nation or silencing dissent? Is Kanu a dangerous instigator or just a man asking tough questions about the future of his own people? The question that a lot of people have actually failed to actually ask. So millions are watching, not just in Nigeria but across the globe. And come October, the answer we get from that courtroom could shape the path of this nation. So these are the points I want you to actually note on what really transpired today. And first is the Nnamdi Kanu's led counsel, that is a Kanu Agabi defense, urged the court to dismiss all the charges against Kanu. I mean, they have a grant that the prosecution's evidence, the audio, the DSS, like I stated, the witness testimony and everything fails to establish a prima facie case. That is to say that it has no standing. And secondly, no direct proof linking Kanu's broadcast to actual acts of violence or incitement. So the witnesses, mostly DSS officers, admitted they only recorded statements without evidence of resulting violence. And also, you also note that 8 successive amendments to the charges show the prosecution's uncertainty. This is actually coming out from Agabi, the Kanu's counsel. So the issue of solitary confinement for over 6 years violate international laws. These are the things that were actually noted by Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer. Like I said, they also talked about the prosecution of IPOB, which they said it lacks presidential approval, making it invalid legally. So also we should also note the part of the prosecution, how they counted. And according to the point I just made here, the prosecution actually counted that Kanu's broadcasts were not mere boasting, but explicit threats to destabilizing Nigeria, calling followers to bring the world to a standstill and attack security agents and their families. This is the counter they actually gave. And they also stated that over 170 security personnel were unalived, allegedly by those following this broadcast directive. And they also strengthened the argument that Kanu incited actionable violence. And they also argued that the issues like IPOB's prescription before the Supreme Court and thus outside the trial court jurisdiction. So after the intense argument and courtroom back and forth, Justice James Omotosho had to adjourn the proceedings. So the outcome on that day will either release Kanu immediately if the court finds no prima facie case, or require him to, enter his defense on the terrorism and treasonable charges. So this is all you need to know about what happened today in the court. So right now, I'm handing the mic over to you. What do you think? Has the government made a strong case, or is this all just a political trial with no real legs? Something that, just like the Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer said, that they are fishing in a river without water. So is this really a case, to the federal government? Let's talk in the comment section. Leave your comments and I will be reading everything. With that being said, smash that like button if you care about justice. Subscribe so you will never miss another update like this. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, because October 10th is just around the corner and this story is far from over. So thank you for watching. Once again, this is a better perspective, and this is your home for real news, unfiltered news per se, bold opinions, and the voices the mainstream won't echo. Stay strong, stay woke, and stay safe.